actually told. Can I say this?
$8 million. 8 million children vanish each year.
So brace yourself, because before this film is over, you will visit the bloody fields of battle.
5,128 a day. 213 per hour. And one every 20 seconds.
And who is it?
It is the largest and most pervasive child trafficking ring in the history of the world by sheer money and numbers.
Most of these children are found and reunited with their families. But what about the ones we never hear from again?
For every neighborhood with 250 homes in it, 14 had satanic ritual abuse taking place.
What if at the bottom of this rabbit hole, at the true conclusion of all the research, it was revealed that they told us the truth from the very beginning? What if the world ran not on labor or sex or money, but on blood?
This will likely be my last broadcast.
Hello to you all. You're watching RHTV Live. So, let's proceed. This may be the last broadcast. Who knows? Who knows? Hallo allemaal, daar zijn we weer. RHTVLive, misschien wel de laatste uitzending. Ja, want we hebben weer heftig nieuws te vertellen. Ja, we gaan even hier naar kijken. We're gonna watch this here. Let's see, the sound is on. Let's pump up the volume, there you go. And we're gonna watch this here.
Just days after getting their second COVID-19 vaccine, 2 teenage boys died in their sleep. Medical experts have been investigating what happened, and they've now released their report. An epidemiologist says it adds to a body of evidence that confirms Pfizer's vaccine can lead to death in children. NTV's Miguel Moreno reports.
To attend class in some parts of the country, kids need to be vaccinated against COVID-19. The federal government says they're safe, but gives them warning labels of what could lead to death.
This myocarditis warning that is out on Pfizer Moderna is very serious.
Epidemiologist Peter McCullough says this in light of a new report. Its authors investigated the cases of 2 teenage boys from different states. Both of them had received second doses of the Pfizer vaccine, only to die a few days later in their sleep. McCullough says that in his view, the study confirms that Pfizer's vaccines led to the deaths of the teenagers.
That's the conclusion now, and it's the conclusion of several reports in the peer-reviewed literature. This isn't the only one. So it's clear that our FDA warnings on these vaccines are valid and justified, and these reports indicate in some cases it's fatal.
The report was published by the College of American Pathologists, which is considered the largest organization of board-certified pathologists. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, known as the CDC, lists the myocarditis warning on its website for both Pfizer and Moderna's vaccines, but no mention that myocarditis could lead to death. We contacted the CDC, but we haven't heard back. Miguel Moreno, NTD News.
Of course not. Of course not. Natuurlijk hebben die zoiets voor, ja, nee, we bellen niet terug hoor. Nee, dat doen we niet. Uh, of course not. We are streaming live from the beautiful city of Maastricht, which is in the south of the Netherlands. And yeah, we got a lot more news. What about this year, right? Blinken went to the Asian meeting, right? And you gotta hear this idiot. Dus de buitenlandse minister is naar de Asian meeting toegegaan. Moet je eens even luisteren naar wat deze gast te zeggen heeft.
In Phnom Penh drew to a close. Cambodia's foreign minister, who's chair of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, acknowledged the difficulties that lay ahead.
We know that every year we have our set of challenges to address, but I have to say that never before, not like this year, have we been confronted with so many perils at the same time.
Tensions over the war in Ukraine and US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan have overshadowed events here.
The divide between the US and its allies on one hand and China and Russia on the other appears to have deepened. China and Russia.
I think I have to do something about the settings. Wait. Quality. There. That's better.
Russia's top diplomats walked out of the East Asia summit when the Japanese foreign minister was speaking, reportedly in protest against Japan's criticism of Beijing's military exercises around Taiwan.
US Secretary of State Antony Blinken said there was no justification for China's actions.
These provocative actions are a significant escalation. We've seen how Beijing has attempted to change the status quo on Taiwan for some time. For example, more than doubling the number of aircraft flown over the center line that separates China and Taiwan over the past 2 years, pursuing economic coercion, political interference, and cyber attacks against Taiwan. Now, they've taken dangerous acts to a new level. The United States to PRC consistently and repeatedly that we do not seek and will not provoke a crisis.
It's unlikely China will back down. Its foreign minister has criticized the US and defended Beijing's actions.
Pelosi's visits has seriously impacted China's sovereignty, seriously interfered in our international affairs, violated the promise US had made with China, and seriously harmed the Taiwan Straits relations. So it is only natural that Chinese side must show our strong opposition.
ASEAN foreign ministers had warned on Thursday the risk of miscalculations in the Taiwan Strait could lead to confrontation among major powers. In Cambodia, there's been no signs that the meeting of the last 2 days have helped ease tensions.
So you may ask yourself this, right? Why is this happening? Waarom gebeurt dit, mensen? Nou, de reden daarachter is omdat Oekraïne een wapenstilstand heeft. Yep. So Ukraine has a ceasefire, right? The Russians actually stopped intervening into even more of the Ukraine, right? And they said, we're going to cease fire, you know, we're going to stop using fire, using ammo and stuff like that. So we're going to stop. We're going to stop fighting. Ukraine was losing the war in their own country. And basically, if you look at the battlefield, they have Kharkiv, right, which is known for the Kharkiv Pact. We'll look that up. And basically, the whole east of Ukraine with Crimea, which is down here, island, and also the coastline, right up to Odessa. So that's the other end of Ukraine. There you have Odessa, and there is a very big harbor in Odessa, and it was in Russian hands. But Russia said, okay, uh, Egypt needs, grain and stuff like that. So we're going to let you ship out grain. En dit is hoe het gaat, mensen. Rusland had Odessa in handen. En ze laten de Oekraïners gewoon graan verhandelen met Egypte en andere landen die afhankelijk waren van Oekraïense graan. Turkije bijvoorbeeld en zoiets. Dus also Turkey and other countries that are dependent on Ukrainian grain to make bread and stuff, they also profited from the Russian with, ceasefire. Yeah. It's kind of hard doing this in two languages, Je denkt in Nederlands en dan praat je in het Engels. En dan denk je in het Engels en dan praat je in het Nederlands. Dat is best wel ingewikkeld soms. Ja, dus dat is aan de hand. Een wapenstilstand in Oekraïne. En ja, oorlog moet gevoerd worden, hè. Ja. There needs to be a war. The war needs to be continuous, according to Orwell, 1984. So Pelosi visits Taiwan, right? Oh, we're going to support you. We're going to support you. And what happens after the visit from Pelosi? Let's see how China reacts. There you have one. There we have another missile. Another missile. So this is how China is reacting to what they see as American aggression. So Pelosi visits Taiwan, right? And Taiwan is not far from China. Now, in America, there are also islands, right, along the coastline. Let's see if we can, Jekyll Island. Jekyll Island, there you go. Let's say, for instance, Jekyll Island says, hey, wait a minute, we got our own government here, and we don't want to be part of your system. We have our own system and this and that. And then another country, such as China, comes to visit your shores, This is how the Chinese see it. I don't agree with it, but to your shores, and they protect Jekyll Island, right? So this is how China sees it, and they see it as a provocation. Pelosi going to Taiwan, they see this as a provocation. And this is why they react like this here. Oh, wait, wrong one. Like this here. Launching all these missiles. So we're going to backtrack, right, on our democracy. You know, what does democracy intend? Well, according to Alexander Fraser Tytler, Lord Woodhouseley, according to him, he has made a cycle. It begins with bondage, right? And then people have faith, and then people find the courage, and then people want liberty, and then there's abundance, right? And then comes selfishness, complacency, apathy, dependence, and then you go back to bondage, right? And the Western civilization is right about here, dependence and bondage, right? So, and we are supposed to be here, courage and liberty, you know? That's what's supposed to happen. So, Alexander Fraser Tytler was a Scottish politician, judge, writer, historian, and such, and also a politician, I believe. So, yeah, there you have it. So we're at dependence and bondage, right? And we're supposed to be here, courage and liberty. Yeah. But that doesn't happen. Let's pull up a quote from Alexander Fraser Tytler. A democracy cannot exist as a permanent form of government. It could only exist until the voters discovered that they can vote themselves largesse from the public treasury. From that moment on, the majority always votes for the candidates promising the most benefits from the public treasury, with the result that a democracy always collapses over loose physical policy, always followed by a dictatorship. The average age of the world's greatest civilizations has been 200 years. These nations have progressed through this sequence, from bondage to spiritual faith, from spiritual faith to great courage, from courage to liberty, from liberty to abundance, from abundance to selfishness, from selfishness to apathy, from apathy to dependence, from dependence back into bondage. Right? It's a cycle we're in. Het is een cyclus waar we in zitten. Dus mensen moeten dat doorhebben. People must be aware of this, you know. So, what else is on RHTVLive's radar? This year is very interesting. Who do you think this guy is, right? He kind of looks angry, doesn't he? Well, this is al-Sadr, yeah, Muqtada al-Sadr. And for the American people that have been to Iraq, they probably know who Muqtada al-Sadr is, right? So this is a Shia cleric, right? And he demands that the parliament is disbanded, new elections. You know, they've been fighting off the Americans for quite a while, and now Iraq is basically a stable country, yet they have no rule. You know, they have no set of standards. So people went to the voting booth in October last year, and there's still no parliament, right? There are even people that are, I believe they're still in parliament, but Iraqi people in parliament. There we go. This was 5 days ago. Hundreds of protesters stormed Iraqi parliament. So these Iraqi people, they want a government that works for the people. And they're doing everything they can, protesting, worrying about their future. It will be a Shia majority or a Sunni majority. Very, very interesting to see the scale on the weighing scale, So we're going to take a look at this here. It took about 9 months for the Netherlands to form a cabinet. And basically we have the same cabinet as last cabinet. The same political parties are in power, right? And we as a people did nothing. We were like, these people are negotiating, okay, I don't care. But the people in Iraq, they are politically awake. They know what's going on. There you have Iraq. They know what's going on. And they want a stable government that works for the people, right? And they see this Muqtada al-Sadr as a leader to follow. This really is amazing. And this guy, right? He is following the Ayatollah, which are in Iran. They have this book, the book of the Ayatollah, or something along those lines, and people read that, and scholars of the Ayatollah, and a lot of Iraqi people within parliament see this as Iranian influence within Iraqi parliament. Now, the last time they had a parliament, they said, we don't want any outside influence in Iraq, right? So this is what's happening, people. And it's very, very sad to see that they don't have a government yet. We have a government, but they don't work for us, right? Very, very sad to see. Even kijken wat nog meer allemaal. Dat heb ik ook laten zien. Kijk hier. Hier had ik het over op de markt. Oekraïne brengt burgers in gevaar. Ukraine is risking their civilians. Oekraïne brengt zijn eigen burgers in gevaar door militaire aanvallen uit te voeren vanuit locaties zoals woonwijken, scholen en ziekenhuizen. Nou komt het uit, nou er een wapenstilstand is. Yeah. So they're saying the Ukrainians were using schools, hospitals, and other civilian locations to, to ward off the Russians. So they used their own civilians as a human shield. Het leger maakt die burgerlocaties zo tot doelen van Russische aanvallen, stelt Amnesty. Nou, Amnesty stelt niet veel voor. Dus hier nog een foto van mij. Poetin die heeft een brief geschreven voor de mensheid. Beste burgers van onze prachtige planeet aarde. Ik, president van alle Russische Federatie, Vladimir Poetin, van de Russische Federatie. Ik lees weer te snel aan. Heb besloten om u alle rechtstreeks toe te spreken en diplomaten, uw heersers en journalisten buiten te laten. In Rusland bestaat zo'n uitdrukking als radiozender waar je niet kan liegen en bedriegen. Dus zal ik het openlijk spreken, zodat iedereen de waarheidsgetrouwheid van mijn woorden kan bevestigen. Rusland is een enorm rijk land. Zijn kernwaarde is meer dan 150 naties die op zijn grondgebied wonen, waar vrijheid en rechtvaardigheid voorop staan. Ja. We hebben geen nieuw terrein nodig. Daar zijn ze zo bang voor. Hè? Want Poetin valt Oekraïne binnen. We hebben geen nieuw terrein nodig. We hebben genoeg energie en andere middelen. Sinds de tijd van de grote Tatariaan en het grote Mogolrijk hebben naties van Noord-Eurasië zich niet ontwikkeld dankzij roofexpedities en kolonisatie van Amerika, Afrika, India, narcisatie van China, maar dankzij hun ijver en hun stijfvolheid. Wie Russisch kent, begrijpt de Russisch. Een bijvoeglijk naamwoord is voor alle naties van ons land. Russische slaven, Russische Tataren, Russische Joden, Russische Evenken, etc. Het zijn Russische zielen, ofwel hun cultuur, taal en manier van leven kunnen verschillen. Wij verwelkomen deze diversiteit van eenheid. Ja. Alle naties van Rusland worden opnieuw gedwongen hun leven op te offeren om de wereld te verdedigen tegen nazisme en fascisme. We hebben 50 krijgsgevangenen ingeruild voor 50 Oekraïnse soldaten. Oekraïnse soldaten werden behandeld in onze ziekenhuizen, voerden 3 maaltijden per dag en kwamen veilig thuis. Onze soldaten werden gevangen genomen met gesneden vingers en geslachtsdelen. Zelfs nazi's deden het niet in recente oorlogen. Dit bewijst voor een toekomstig tribunaal worden gepresenteerd. Schaam iedereen die nu deze gekken steunt. Nou, we gaan niet het hele brief voorlezen. Dus best wel aardig wat om te lezen. Hier, dit is ook weer zoiets. Insectenburger. Oh, we zijn weer bij Poetin. Dat is niet de bedoeling. Kijk, insectenburger mensen. Hier. Oh, wat lekker. Lekker crunchy. Ja, lekker. Lekker insect. Oh, wat is dat toch lekker, zo'n spin. Ja, lekker opeten. Oh, lekker als een burgervorm. Oh. Wij kunnen aan de insecten en zij kunnen hun vlees gaan eten, champagne drinken en weet ik wat allemaal. Ja, dat moeten wij normaal vinden. Ik vind dat niet normaal. Ja. Ik wil gewoon vlees eten. Ik wil geen insecten eten. Ik wil geen insectenburger hebben. Fuck dat. Nee, dat doen we niet. Ja? Heel Nederland zou eigenlijk moeten opstaan en zeggen van, we gaan geen insecten eten. We moeten juist insecten preserveren. Er zijn te weinig insecten in de natuur. Wat er van de natuur over is. Ja? Dan ga je toch niet vermalen in een burger. Echt. This is the dumbing down of society, right? The insect burger. And it's people can buy this in Germany, Deutschland's erste. So people can buy this in Germany, and this is very sick. You know, they can eat meat, they can fly anywhere, they can jet set here, they can go to Taiwan, they can do anything, but we need to stay at home and we need to eat our insect burgers and shit like that. No way, no way. I'm not taking this. All right, you guys should be mad. In Canada, they're also attacking the farmers. It is amazing. Really is amazing. So, that's also a tidbit that we can take along with the path that we're walking on. So, I just read the President Putin's letter to the people of the world in Dutch. He basically says we are 150 nations and we live in freedom and this and that. And we aren't the ones attacking countries and stuff like that. So this is very interesting read. So let's take a look at what else is happening in the world. Let's use Al Jazeera as our source. Thank you, Qatari government, for supporting Al Jazeera, even though I don't really, I don't really support them, but I do use them, because this is the only good channel. There was RT, but that is banned in Europe. We cannot show any Russian television anymore. So the only other channels we have is Al Jazeera. There's also WION, it's in India. And we also have the one from South Korea, Arirang News, right? Let's Arirang News. There you go. There we have Arirang News. And let's see if they have something to say about Pelosi. I believe they do. 4 days ago, will Nancy Pelosi visit Taiwan? Expert analysis, whatever. You've heard it on RHTVLive. Nancy Pelosi is going to Taiwan, right? She could have gone to Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, or whatever else country. Nope, she went to Taiwan. And why? They want to provoke a war. That is why. So they want us in slavery, in bondage, right? So do you have any apathy for liberty? And do you have the courage and the faith to stand up for yourself? Or do you let yourself overwhelm yourself with abundance and be selfish and self-absorbed, basically. That is for you to decide, not for me. I'm right over here. I have faith, courage, and I believe in liberty. All right? So I'm over here, and I don't know where you are on this scale hier. Dus hier begint het mee, hè? Gebonden. En daarna heb je, daarna geloof je, daarna krijg je de moed, daarna de vrijheid, daarna heb je heel veel. En begin je egoïstisch te worden en zoiets. En de empathie is weg en zoiets. En dan ben je afhankelijk en dan ben je weer slaafs. We hebben net een heel citaat voorgelezen van een Schotse geleerde, politicus en zoiets. Dus, we hebben alweer genoeg laten zien volgens mij. Ik ben alweer een tijd bezig. We gaan eventjes naar Socrates. Why Socrates hated democracy. Ja. Why did Socrates hate democracy? Well, we're about to find out.
We're used to thinking very highly of democracy, and by extension of ancient Athens, the civilization that gave rise to it. The Parthenon has become almost a byword for democratic values, which is why so many leaders of democracies like to be photographed there. It's therefore very striking to discover that one of ancient Greece's greatest achievements, philosophy, was highly suspicious of its other achievement, democracy. The founding father of Greek philosophy, Socrates, is portrayed in the dialogues of Plato as hugely pessimistic about the whole business of democracy. In Book 6 of the Republic, Plato describes Socrates falling into conversation with a character called Adimantus and trying to get him to see the flaws of democracy by comparing a society to a ship. If you were heading out on a journey by sea, asks Socrates, who would you ideally want deciding who was in charge of the vessel? Just anyone, or people educated in the rules and demands of seafaring? The latter, of course, says Adimantus. So why then, responds Socrates, do we keep thinking that any old person should be fit to judge who should be the ruler of a country? Socrates' point is that voting in an election is a skill, not a random intuition. And like any skill, it needs to be taught systematically to people. Letting the citizenry vote without an education is as irresponsible as putting them in charge of a trireme sailing to Samos in a storm. Socrates was to have first-hand catastrophic experience of the foolishness of voters. In 399 BC, the philosopher was put on trial on trumped-up charges of corrupting the youth of Athens. A jury of 500 Athenians was invited to weigh up the case and decided by a narrow margin that the philosopher was guilty. He was put to death by hemlock in a process which is for thinking people every bit as tragic as Jesus' condemnation has been for Christians. Crucially, Socrates was not elitist in the normal sense. He didn't believe that a narrow few should only ever vote. He did, however, insist that only those who had thought about issues rationally and deeply should be let near a vote. We have forgotten this distinction between an intellectual democracy and a democracy by birthright. We have given the vote to all without connecting it to wisdom. And Socrates knew exactly where that would lead, to a system the Greeks feared above all, demagoguery. Ancient Athens had painful experience of demagogues. For example, the louche figure of Alcibiades, a rich, charismatic, smooth-talking, wealthy man who eroded basic freedoms and helped to...
Demagoguery. Wait, here you go. Right. Hey, still meisje. Still. So here you go, demagoguery, right? And it's sort of bondage and dependence, right? So this is why Socrates hated democracy.
Push Athens to its disastrous military adventures in Sicily. Socrates knew how easily people seeking election could exploit our desire for easy answers. he asked us to imagine an election debate between two candidates, one who was like a doctor and the other who was like a sweet shop owner. The sweet shop owner would say of his rival, "Look, this person here has worked many evils on you. He hurts you, gives you bitter potions, and tells you not to eat and drink whatever you like. He'll never serve you feasts of many and varied pleasant things like I will." Socrates asks us to consider the audience's response.
Hey, wait a minute. Didn't we see that before? Right? What did our friend Alexander Fraser Tytler say? Huh? From that moment on, the majority always votes for candidates promising the most benefits from the public treasury, with the result that a democracy always collapses over loose fiscal policy, always followed by a dictatorship. Right? So you have the candy store owner, right, and the doctor. Who would you vote for? The doctor who would say, "We got to operate on you," or a candy salesman who says, "Here you go. Here's some more pie," right? Hey, still Mason. Still. So who would you vote for? Very interesting stuff, people. Very interesting to think about. And, Socrates was the father of philosophy. And after Socrates, you had Plato and Aristotle and Homer and other philosophers, right? So people really need to realize what's going on. And what's going on in America? Well, a Trump rally. Let's take a look at this here.
Once you get them, the people in power are not going to say, let's get rid of those machines over there, those computers. And we're blessed. We have God's grace that we have all the evidence. We have it all.
This here is Mike Lindell. He used to be, some bum from the street, but now he sells pillows. America, the land of the free, right? So, yeah, there is prosperity in the country.
All we have to do now is get the word out of the lawsuits we're doing. The judges are going to bring this country back, like I said on stage. The judges now are they didn't have courage a year and a half ago. They do now. We had just had a judge in Arizona. He said, "I'm going to look at this case, this preliminary injunction." It was an Obama-appointed judge. It doesn't matter who appointed him. He's a judge. He did what he's supposed to do, judge something. Now imagine what this preliminary injunction was. Kerry Lake brought it, and Mark Fincham. And what if we said in Arizona, compare it to this. We just have word that all the cars in Arizona don't have brakes. Well, you bring it to a judge and say, "Hey, you need to look at this." And the judge said, "Yes, I'm going to look at it." This judge agreed to look at it. So he looks at it, and he says, this when it was a hearing.
All right, welcome back. We're inside the arena live in Waukesha, Wisconsin. Brian Glenn, Christina Bob joining you for our pre-show building up to President Trump. Scheduled to speak at 7 o'clock tonight. Now, Christina, the speakers start at 4 o'clock tonight, which is always a great round. In this round, we have some really important candidates that we've been talking about the last 2 hours that are going to take the stage behind us and tell the American people why they need to get out and vote on Tuesday.
Absolutely. So Tim Michels is running for governor here in Wisconsin. Of course, Trump endorsed. He's going to be one of the speakers. And I'm certain that the crowd is going to be very interested in what he has to say, because the governor's race here in Wisconsin was a little bit of an unknown, and everyone was kind of looking to President Trump to say, who do you like? We want to know who you like, because none of the candidates really had taken the lead. Tim Michels was a new candidate. Once he got into the race, President Trump, embraced him, liked his policies. He's a businessman. He's in construction. He saw some similarities in himself with Tim Michels, endorsed Michels, and Michels is by far the front runner, going to take the lead. But the people of Wisconsin still want to know what he's going to do, what his priorities are, important, and what he wants to do about the election integrity initiative or efforts as well.
Oh well, I put out a comment that they are being live streamed on RHTVLive. Right, this is very interesting political stuff. So.
Important state for that. We're also going to hear from Adam Steen, who is challenging the incumbent Speaker of the
He might be
Assembly.
my favorite one tonight, actually.
I'm very eager to see from Adam Steen, and I think the people are eager to hear from him, because a lot of them don't necessarily even know who he is yet. He is Trump endorsed, very newly Trump endorsed, because he stepped up to challenge the Speaker of the Assembly, Robin Vos, who is a rhino, who has entrenched himself in the Assembly and has pretty much blocked all of the election integrity efforts here in Wisconsin. So Adam Steen will be coming out. There's a big lineup of strong conservative candidates and America First patriots that are going to be speaking here tonight before President Trump takes the stage at 7 p.m.
Yeah, there you go. And of course, the reason why he's here, you talked about Adam Steen, is to get rid of Speaker Vos. I mean, Robin Vos has been so destructive to Wisconsin. And we saw what happened in Arizona. When you get the right patriots involved, they're going to turn that state around. And you have the opportunity here in Wisconsin to do that. So I'm reaching out to you guys right now in the 63rd district here in Wisconsin. It's so important.
Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? You know, people can vote for candidates that Trump supports. That's pretty good, right? Save America, indeed, save America. Not only save America, save the whole world. You know, the whole world. Not only America, but also the Netherlands. We also need help, right? Because we were, not me personally, but we were talking about the farmers and at least people in politics wanted to talk to the farmers. And this is the picture we have, right? So there are three organizations within the farmer group. You have the LTO, Land- en Tuinbouworganisatie. You have Agra-actie, and you have the Farmers Defense Force, right? And that third party, our government says that they're dangerous people with their tractors and stuff. So we support the farmers, and one of the three parties actually went to this old geezer here, this guy who invented Rutte 4, and basically said, the nitrogen, we got to talk about that. And he put it on the table. And now Rutte appoints him to talk to the farmers. It's amazing. It really is amazing. And over here we have Kaag, which is also in the coalition of the cabinet. And she's pointing to this guy, you know. And I say, en je gaat nu aan tafel. And then he says, maar er is bijna niemand. And she says, and you're going to the table now. And he says, but there's almost no one there. So it's an inside joke. I thought it was funny. So this is happening in Dutch politics. And I'm out of words. Let's see what people have to say. Even kijken wat hier staat. Trump is ook een onderdeel van het plan. Er is niks erg. Like you say, in het begin bevrijders, wij zelf met de massa zijn. Ja, inderdaad, Leander, wij zijn nodig. Ja? We hoeven geen leider te volgen. Wij zijn nodig. Wij zijn de potentiële leiders die onze land kunnen bevrijden. Ja? Alleen, dat moet je in jezelf zien. Weet je? Ik zie het al in mezelf dat ik geen goede leider ben. Ja? Ik ben misschien wel een goede spreker. Maar ik ben geen goede leider. Nou, dat laat ik dus aan anderen over. Dus... And Leander says Trump is also, part of the plan, part of their elite plan. And we don't need a leader as Trump. We need ourselves as leaders. And we do need ourselves as leaders. You are the potential leader to save your country out of crisis. Right? But you do need to know the history of your country, the history of other countries surrounding your country. I want freedom. And I don't want bondage and all that. We showed it right here. Dependence and bondage. Do you want to be dependent on government? Right? I don't. Do you want to have a bondage, government contracts and all that you need to sign? Screw that. No way. I am a free person, as are you. And we have enough intelligence to solve this problem. So, even terug naar de... Zo. Hup. Zo. Goedenavond, Erik. And also Frankie. Frankie is live in the Philippines. And he's also live streaming this here. So the Philippine people can listen. Right? So, thank you for streaming, Frankie, and also Michelle. Thank you for watching, right? Because we're doing this all for free, just to inform the audience on what's going on in the world. This is my task, right? And I know that this is a very hard task to do. Let's see, Michelle says Trump is not going to solve everything, probably not even close. Exactly. We are the leaders. You need to take part in politics. We are the leaders. But people have a disinterest in politics and they say, oh, the leaders, they decide for us. No, we decide for our leaders, what to do. So, even kijken wat hier staat. Vrijgeboren, maar verkocht als slaaf. Met het aangeven bij de gemeente. Inderdaad. Hey Frankie. Burgerslaafnummer, inderdaad. Kijk, wij zijn geen slaven, we zijn vrije mensen. Ja? Alleen dat gedachtegoed moet je in je hoofd houden. Ik ben een vrij iemand. Ja? Ik woon hier om te wonen. En niet om een melkkoe te zijn voor de gemeente. Ja? Dat moet je in je gedachten houden. En eigenlijk moet je daar ook op anticiperen. Ja. Hoor. Leg mij eens uit. Hè. Waarom kan het in Irak wel? Hè, dat ze het parlement, hun huis van democratie, naar binnen kunnen gaan en en zoiets. En wij als Nederlanders kunnen dat niet. Leg me dat eens uit. Is het omdat Irak desperaat is? Hè? Omdat ze dus eigenlijk plat gebombardeerd zijn. Waar wij als Nederland ook nog aan meegedaan hebben. 70 Irakese mensen dood. Hè? We hebben het gezien in het begin. En daar sluiten we ook mee af. Even kijken of we dat filmpje nog kunnen vinden. We zijn toch alweer een uur bezig, zie ik. Hier het filmpje waarmee we begonnen. This is the introduction where we started off from. And we're going full circle. And we're going to watch this again.
He was actually told, can I say this?
$8 million. 8 million children vanish each year.
So brace yourself, because before this film is over, you will visit the bloody fields of battle.
5,128 a day. 213 per hour. And one every 20 seconds.
It is the largest and most pervasive child trafficking ring in the history of the world by sheer money and numbers.
Most of these children are found and reunited with their families. But what about the ones we never hear from again?
For every neighborhood with 250 homes in it, 14 had satanic ritual abuse taking place.
What if at the bottom, rabbit hole, at the true conclusion of all the research, it was revealed that they told us the truth from the very beginning? What if the world ran not on labor or sex or money, but on blood?
This will likely be my last broadcast.
Who knows? Maybe this is my last broadcast. I don't know. Basically, I don't care. You can ban me, whatever. And I will come back. I will represent the lost voice for the people who don't dare to speak. So, we gaan er vandoor, mensen. Doei. Dank voor het delen. Dank voor het kijken. En we zien ons zondag weer. Ja, morgen zijn we er niet. Andere dingen te doen. Dus doei. Fijne avond.